Good afternoon. My name is Garrett Tigert. I'm going to run through kind of the steps I went through to do this muzzleloader lab. So I didn't notice before that you had to do unboxing, so I sort of simulated what happened when I got the package to just to start. So without further ado, let's see. So I found out you can't turn the camera around on your phone while you're recording. So package came in just like so. All parts came into a bag for the exception hardware pieces like screws and stuff like that, which I have over here, and I'll expand on that here in a little bit. But it came with barrel, the ramrod, and the stock itself, as you can see right there. So also wanted to show that some of the tools I used on this project, starting from the right, wood clamp. Now I'm not showing it right now, but I did use my toolbox, which is outside. I didn't really have a bench to work on. I had a toolbox which put quite a number of dents in the stock while I was working it, and I'll expand on that a little bit later. A pair of scissors just for the tape, and I actually had quite a bit of sandpaper too, in varying different grits, which was an issue to find. One of the ones I couldn't find was a 180, but I found some variety packs that went 150 to 220, 320, 180, or not 180, something along. And there's one of them that was missing, but I made do with what I had. Drill bits, cordless drill, sanding block, as you can see here, a punch. I picked that up. That actually came into being useful. My chisels right here, that came with the package. Those were actually meant for inletting, and since I didn't have the correct actual chisels to knock out some of the wood for like the toe plate, I actually ended up using those trying to do it, which I think was kind of a mistake, and I paid for it towards the end while I was trying to sand it, seeing if I can sand it out and minimize how bad it had looked. Also, screwdriver with various bits. Really only needed one bit, and I had a variety pack on bits too, and I found one that pretty much worked for all the screws. Also got a metal tray here so that I keep everything together. As you all know, everything that isn't brass sticks to it, so that way I was sure that I wasn't going to lose anything. So, but I did keep the brass ones in there, just making sure that none of the brass ended up going missing. So I'm going to change things around real fast and show more of what was involved in doing this project. Show was parts that came in the bag, parts that was to be installed onto the stock. So right here I got the lock right here, trigger mechanism, front thimble, rear thimble, front toe, trigger guard, and butt plate. And actually I don't have it with me, but the toe plate also, which I was finishing up a little bit on the sanding on that one. So just push that kind of out of the way. I'm going to start going into a little bit of the process on the stock. So as you can see here, I did quite a bit of inletting on here, which you'll see right here. I took a little too much out, I think. So I found out, during it, that going with the grain really does matter quite a bit. So as you can see here, a little bit of a gap. So, but it is in there pretty solid, so I don't think there's going to be an issue in the operation of it. I also had to inlet the barrel in here, which I'll show later in final assembly, where it said that you sand the wood down on the top here to the level of the rear tang. Fortunately, rear tang was way far. Settling it in there after inletting it in, making sure it fits down there, and putting black down on the inside, it was still sticking out quite a bit. So I had to try to shave this down as much as possible, try to get it as even as I could. Well, go right here. I've also inletted the guard in here, which you can see right in here, that hole, I did not make a 90-degree cut down in here when I was inletting the trigger guard. So it's kind of at a slant. So the hole is actually kind of inside that slant, which I'm hoping isn't going to hurt any of the operations for that. Coming down here, so I might have spoken of it before, but right here is where you had to chisel out some. Well, I didn't chisel that out with an actual chisel. What ended up happening is I used my scraper and I cut a little too much off. You see here that I went and inletted the back, and one of the comments I've actually made on this is how much black is going to be showing up on it. I think that's a pretty good amount when I inletted it, but something I would like from the textbook is that it would have shown what an acceptable amount of black would be during the inletting job. Here you can see the holes for the barrel tinions put in there. Another thing that was a bit oddball to me, so there wasn't much inletting when it came to this front toe plate here, and fortunately there's quite a bit. There's about a 1/4 inch gap that I had to cut off this just so it would sit down on it, and then I inletted this to make sure it was fully seated there and down on here. Now, one of the importance of vise that I found out is to be able to hold it straight so you get a perfect, so you can perfectly drill. Well, see there, it's off. So that's not going to hurt it much, but that is that doesn't make it look like the best. Coming down here, I actually still have the screw in it. That wasn't completely straight either, but I've tested it on there and the thimble is holding on there. One of the problems I had was not having an actual tool to countersink with. This one, this front one didn't come out too bad. It's sitting down pretty far in there, but it's doing what it needs to do. Fortunately on this back one, and I'm gonna have to fix it later, but I countersunk it too far with the bigger, just using a bigger drill just so the head would fit down in there. So now it's only being held by a small piece of wood, and it sticks through a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch inside the rear thimble. And I don't want to trim that yet. I'd rather repair that hole and redo it. And that way I get the most wood contact as I can, just for a little bit of that strength. Going through it, I'm posting pictures after the video of some of the processes I went through. Some of the things you'll notice is, I think this actually came like this, but it seems like there's a little dent here. But if you look at the wood, it was thicker, and when it goes thinner, that's where that dent is. So I don't actually think I put that dent there. Here, you can't see it now, but I'll be putting pictures. So when the drill went in and going through that barrel tinion, the the bit slipped through, and so the chuck on it actually made a round circle around that. So I don't have pictures of it, but I used an iron and cotton ball and water to steam it, and I actually got that to come out. Same thing right here, and you can't see it now, but there's pictures that's going to be posted where I had deep grooves right in here, and I used steam to get that out too. So that's what I have, and next I'll be showing the final assembly product that I have for this. And this is with the finally put all the way together. As the sides being put on the barrel and then put together. I do see that after, I don't know if I torqued it down too much or not, but there's more of a gap here now, more wood sticking out, and it looks like it's catty cornered some. So actually bring this, looking at this, it barely works, and I don't seem to be able to get that all the way to go down. I'm not sure how to do that. This piece here, see if I can focus here. You see that this one isn't all the way in. This didn't do right. This one did go all the way in. It's just not completely flush. So I might have to go back over that. I've also included pictures towards the end of this where I polished brass, and so you can see the difference. So I still have to do major repairs on these right here. That one and the front one. That one being awesome. I cannot get that to do exactly what I needed to hold it there. Can get focus. That one just, I'm gonna have to fill it and re-drill it. Ramrod does work. So I was saying that the thimbles were in, that would hold. I did get the spring in there, which it holds actually pretty good. So right now, the most concerning part is the cock. Cock it back. All right, a little bit of phone issues. Okay, so cocking it back, rear trigger does not fire. It doesn't fire at all. Full cock, the front trigger will engage it. Set the rear trigger. So I'm not sure if that's supposed to be happening, unless it's just there to increase the sensitivity. That might be it. But everything was done. Everything's been sanded down. Only a little bit of an edge there. I might go back a little bit more just to get that, barely feel it. But that is my project, and at the end of this you will see the pictures of before and afters. Thank you. Bye. One more thing that I forgot, PS. So I think the biggest issue I had on this was inletting. I think that's going to be pretty much the same for everyone on this project. Inletting was kind of a tough one. That and just reading the directions. So there's like 5 different screws, and they tell you put screw here. Which one? So halfway through, I essentially had to put everything together just so I can figure out what went where. So that was a bit on the confusing side. Inletting had a little bit of issues with the inletting and with the grain. I kept messing up, going the wrong way on the grain, and then it would take a chunk of wood out, which is shown on a couple of spots where it was too much. Also, didn't quite have the time or money, but I still need to brown the barrel, and I still need to finish to stain the wood. So, and at one point in time, I'm going to crown the barrel too, hopefully pretty soon. So, and that'd be it.